Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something very real that a lot of foreigners and even fellow Filipinos misunderstand about us. People think a Filipina becomes stable when she gets a job abroad, when she earns in dollars, or when she dates a foreigner. But honestly, that's not stability. That's survival wearing nice makeup. And today, I will break down the real timeline, the real process, and the real transformation of a Filipina who finally became financially stable and emotionally free. And this is the part that nobody talks about, but should. Let's talk real talk. And so let's start with Filipina stability. It's not about income, it's about the security. Let's be honest, most Filipinos grow up in a culture where money is always tight and family responsibilities are heavy. So even if we're earning okay, we don't feel stable. A Filipina becomes stable when she stops worrying about tomorrow. She's not afraid of emergencies. She knows she can feed her kids and she isn't depending on someone who can walk away anytime. And so for us, that stability comes late 20s to late 30s, and sometimes later, especially for single moms or those rebuilding after a toxic or firm relationships. And this is reality, not fantasy, not happily ever after stories on social media. Second part of this discussion is about stability begins when she can say, I can do it even without you. This is the turning point. A Filipina becomes stable the moment she realizes, even if you leave me, even if no one helps me, I can still live. And that's the day her fear dies. That's the day her confidence wakes up. Because the truth is, dependence makes Filipinas quiet. Stability makes us straightforward. And when she knows she can survive without relying on a man, foreigner or Filipino, she becomes different. Her standards rise, her patience becomes shorter, her boundaries get stronger. She doesn't allow disrespect, she doesn't accept crumbs. She stops choosing from fear, rather, she starts choosing from strength. Moreover, when a Filipino reaches stability, she changes, but not in a bad way. People say, she changed because she already have money. She didn't change. She returned to who she was supposed to be before life trained her. When a Filipina becomes financially stable, three things happen. Firstly, that is, she becomes more confident because she no longer feels small or powerless. Confidence is natural when you finally breathe. Secondly, she becomes more selective. She's not going to accept men who treat her like an option. She's not going to tolerate controlling behavior. She's not going to date someone just because he can help. Number three, she stops entertaining drama. She becomes peaceful, detached from chaos, and protective of her energy. And that's not about being acting like a clean one. She's just protecting her life that she fought so hard to rebuild. Next one, jumping to the topic about what Filipinas do when they become financially free. Now, this part, very relatable. When a Filipina stops worrying about money every single day, she enters her self love and rebuilding era. You know what this means? She takes care of her health. Better food, better skincare, better clothes. Not for anyone, but because she finally has time for herself. Number two, she invests in her children, education, medical care, and also stability at home, a better future. A stable Filipina becomes a strategic mother, not just a surviving one. Also, she starts building her legacy: small business, land, savings, insurance, passive income. This is where Filipina becomes impossible to manipulate because she has her own foundation. And I hope you understand the difference. Also, she starts dreaming again. When survival mode ends, creativity returns, goals become bigger, life becomes exciting. So when Filipinos reach stability, their hearts change too. And this is something men don't always understand. A stable Filipina becomes softer, kinder, more feminine, more loving, and more peaceful. And you know why? Because she's no longer tired. She's no longer scared. And she's no longer choosing partners from desperation. But also, she becomes more selective, not being picky, just finally aware of her worth. A financially free Filipina is not hard to get. She's just done entertaining anyone who feels like a risk to her peace. So, the real truth? When does a Filipina truly become stable? Not when she finds a foreigner, not when she earns a little extra, not when she buys something new. A Filipina becomes stable when she owns her time, she owns her decisions, she owns her income, and she owns her peace. Stability is not money, it's about freedom. And when a Filipina finally reaches that freedom, she became unstoppable. And before I end this video, let me leave you with this. Because a lot of people still misunderstand the journey of a Filipina. Stability is not a luxury for us. It's survival turned into peace. Most Filipinas didn't grow up with safety nets. No trust fund, no monthly allowance, no guaranteed support. We were raised to stretch what little we had and still make like everything's fine. So when a Filipino finally becomes stable, when she can breathe, when she can pay her bills without shaking, when she can handle life without begging everyone, this is not just money, that is healing. And you will notice this stable Filipina becomes more gentle, but she also becomes more firm. She can love deeper, but also she sets boundaries quicker. She becomes kinder, but she also refuses disrespect immediately. Why? Because stability teaches her the biggest lesson of all. The lesson which says, I don't have to suffer to prove I am loyal. I don't have to stay to prove I am kind. And I don't have to break myself just to keep someone else whole. And that is the power of stability. Not the money, but the clarity. So if you're watching this as a foreigner or a foreign man trying to understand Filipinas, remember when you meet a woman who's stable, confident, and at peace, that's not attitude, that's growth, that's maturity, and that's a Filipina who fought her way out of survival. And if you're Filipina listening right now, please know this. The most beautiful version of you is the one who's not scared anymore. Keep building, keep healing, and keep choosing peace. Because a Filipina who is stable is a Filipina who becomes unstoppable. Thank you for watching for this episode of Real Talk. Until the next time, please do comment, like, and share. Suggest in the comment section down below, and I'm happy to read them and answer. Until the next episode, God bless and bye bye.